I can't believe I'm even telling this story, because even now, months later, it still feels like a twisted nightmare I can't wake up from. Was I wrong for what I did? Honestly, I don't know anymore. But tell me, would you have done the same thing if your entire world was crumbling around you? Thanks to the people you thought were your closest friends? Because my friends didn't just backstab me. They tried to rip away everything I'd worked for, everything I dreamed of. And they almost succeeded in destroying me. It all started so innocently, as these things often do. I was just a regular high school kid, obsessed with fashion, makeup, and creating content. My YouTube channel began as a passion project, a way to share my hauls, my makeup tutorials, and my daily life. I never expected it to blow up the way it did. Suddenly, I was getting thousands of views, then tens of thousands, and before I knew it, I had a substantial following. Brands started reaching out, offering sponsorships and free products. It was surreal. My parents, initially skeptical, became my biggest cheerleaders. They helped me set up a proper recording space, proofread contracts, and even drove me to events. It was a family affair, and I loved every second of it. My subscriber count soared past 100K, then 500K, and eventually, I hit that coveted 1 million mark. I was a teen influencer, living a life I'd only ever dreamed of. It was a lot of work, balancing school with content creation, brand deals, and maintaining an online presence, but I thrived on it. I loved connecting with my audience, reading their comments, and knowing that I was inspiring some of them. Life felt perfect. I had my studies, my blossoming career, and what I thought was an amazing group of friends. There was Chloe, my ride or die since elementary school. We'd been through everything together, from awkward middle school dances to late-night study sessions. She was always the pragmatic one, the voice of reason. Then there was Liam, the charming, witty guy who always made us laugh. He was incredibly supportive, always hyping me up in the comments section, and helping me brainstorm video ideas. And finally, Maya, the artistic one, with a flair for photography and an incredible eye for aesthetics. She often helped me with my video thumbnails and Instagram photos, making sure everything looked professional and appealing. We were an inseparable quartet. We had our own little bubble, our inside jokes, our favorite hangouts. They were there for me through every milestone, celebrating my first big brand deal, my first viral video, and especially when I hit that 1 million subscriber mark. They were ecstatic, throwing me a surprise party and showering me with gifts. I truly believed they were happy for my success, genuinely proud of what I was achieving. I shared everything with them, not just the glamorous parts of being an influencer, but also the struggles, the stress of deadlines, the negativity from online trolls, the pressure to constantly be on. They listened, offered advice, and made me feel grounded amidst the whirlwind of my online life. I valued their opinions, often running video ideas by them before filming, trusting their judgment. I even helped them out whenever I could. Chloe had a knack for fashion, and I connected her with a few smaller brands for some affiliate marketing opportunities. Liam wanted to start his own gaming channel, and I gave him a shout out on my stories, boosting his initial subscriber count significantly. Maya, with her photography skills, started getting paid gigs for other local influencers after I prominently featured her work and tagged her in my posts. I genuinely felt like we were all growing together, lifting each other up. My success felt like our success. Everything was going smoothly until the whispers started. At first, they were subtle, almost imperceptible. A cold shoulder here, a sarcastic comment there, quickly brushed off as a bad mood or a joke. But then the negativity grew more pointed, more frequent. It usually happened when we were alone, just the three of them and me. They'd make comments about how much time I spent editing, or how I was always on my phone, or how I was too busy for them, now that I was famous. I tried to brush it off, explaining that my work was demanding, but that they were still my priority. I made extra efforts to carve out time for them, even if it meant sacrificing sleep or pushing back deadlines. I invited them to exclusive influencer events, shared expensive PR packages with them, and always made sure they were included in my plans. But it was never enough. The resentment simmered beneath the surface, occasionally boiling over into passive-aggressive remarks or thinly veiled insults. I started feeling like I was walking on eggshells around them, constantly trying to prove that my success hadn't changed me. The turning point came when I received an invitation to a prestigious beauty gala in New York City. It was a massive opportunity, a chance to network with industry giants and collaborate with some of my idols. I was ecstatic. I immediately told Chloe, Liam, and Maya, expecting them to share my excitement. Instead, there was a strange, uncomfortable silence. Chloe was the first to speak, her voice dripping with feigned enthusiasm. "Oh wow, another big event for the big influencer, huh?" Liam scoffed. "Yeah, I guess we're not cool enough to come along, right?" Maya just rolled her eyes, scrolling through her phone. My heart sank. I tried to explain that it was an invite-only event for established creators, but they weren't listening. They accused me of rubbing my success in their faces, of forgetting where I came from. I was hurt and confused. This was my dream, and they were turning it into a source of guilt. I pushed past the discomfort and went to the gala. It was everything I had imagined and more. I met incredible people, made valuable connections, and felt a surge of validation for all my hard work. I called them from my hotel room, bubbling with excitement, trying to share my experience. Their responses were curt, dismissive. It felt like talking to strangers. When I returned home, the atmosphere was thick with tension. They avoided me, made plans without me, and when we did interact, it was purely transactional, discussing schoolwork or trivial matters. The warmth and camaraderie were gone, replaced by a chilling distance. I confronted them, asking what was wrong. They denied everything, claiming I was being paranoid, and that I was too sensitive because of the pressure of my new life. I wanted to believe them, but my gut told me otherwise. The true betrayal began subtly, eroding my confidence piece by piece. My channel, which had been steadily growing, suddenly started experiencing unexplained dips in engagement. My comments section, usually filled with positive interactions, was now peppered with strange, vaguely negative remarks that hinted at some kind of inside information about me. "I heard she's actually really stuck up in person," one comment would say. "She only cares about money now," another would chime in. These weren't the usual troll comments. They felt too specific, too personal. I dismissed them at first, attributing it to the general negativity that comes with being a public figure. But then my brand partnerships started hitting snags. A couple of deals were inexplicably delayed, and one major collaboration was outright canceled, with the brand citing unforeseen internal issues and a vague mention of brand alignment concerns. This was a huge blow. My reputation was everything in this industry, and something was clearly amiss. I tried to investigate, asking my manager if she had heard anything, but she was just as perplexed. The puzzle pieces started to fit together in the most painful way possible. One afternoon, I was at Chloe's house, helping her with a school project. She had stepped out to get snacks, leaving her laptop open on the kitchen counter. Curiosity, or perhaps a premonition, got the better of me. I glanced at the screen and my blood ran cold. It was a group chat, not just with Chloe, Liam, and Maya, but with several other people I vaguely recognized from school. The chat title itself was a punch to the gut: Anti-Influencer League. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the messages. It was a systematic campaign of sabotage. They were actively spreading rumors about me, fabricating stories, and planting seeds of doubt in the minds of my followers. They talked about how I was fake, how I changed and became arrogant with my success, how I was using people for my own gain. They even coached others on how to leave negative, but subtle comments that wouldn't get flagged by YouTube's algorithm. There were screenshots of my private conversations, taken from my phone when they had access to it, twisted and taken out of context to paint me in the worst possible light. They were sharing details about my brand deals, my personal life, and even mocking my vulnerabilities. The worst part was seeing how they reveled in my declining views and canceled sponsorships. They celebrated each setback, their messages filled with cruel laughter and triumphant emojis. It wasn't just envy, it was pure, unadulterated malice. They were enjoying watching me fail. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. These weren't just my friends. They were my betrayers, my saboteurs, systematically dismantling my career and my reputation. The pain was physical, a sharp ache in my chest. I felt violated, humiliated, and utterly alone. When Chloe walked back in, holding a bag of chips, I was frozen, staring at the screen, tears streaming down my face. She saw the laptop, saw my expression, and her face went chalk white. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by my ragged breaths. What is this? I finally managed to choke out, my voice barely a whisper. She stammered, tried to grab the laptop, but I pulled it away. Liam and Maya arrived a few minutes later, drawn by the tension in the air. Their faces mirrored Chloe's shock and fear as they realized I had seen everything. The facade crumbled. There were no more denials, no more excuses. Just raw, exposed guilt. They tried to apologize, to explain that it got out of hand, that they were just messing around. But their words were hollow, drowned out by the echo of their betrayal in my mind. The depth of their resentment was staggering. They confessed, albeit reluctantly, that they felt left behind, overshadowed by my success. They believed I had changed, that I had become too big for my britches, and that I deserved to be brought down a peg or two. They were jealous, yes, but their jealousy had morphed into something far more sinister. A desire to destroy me. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have forgiven them? Would you have walked away? Or would you have fought back? And if so, how? Because what I did next, well, it changed everything. I stood there, clutching Chloe's laptop, staring at the three people who had been my world. My mind was racing, a whirlwind of anger, hurt, and a simmering desire for justice. Forgiveness? It felt impossible. Walking away. That would mean letting them get away with it. Allowing them to continue their smear campaign, and possibly destroy my career for good. No, I knew I couldn't just let it go. They had tried to ruin me, and I wasn't going to stand idly by and let them finish the job. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my shaking hands. My voice, when it came out, was surprisingly calm, devoid of the tears that had just flowed. You know, for months, I've been blaming myself. I thought I was doing something wrong, that I was failing my audience, my brands. All while you three were actively trying to sabotage me. I looked directly at Chloe, then Liam, then Maya. Their eyes darted away, unable to meet mine. You talked about me being fake. But who's truly fake here? The person trying to build something positive, or the friends who smiled to my face while trying to tear me down behind my back? They started to mumble excuses again, but I cut them off. Don't bother. I've seen enough. I've seen your chat, your plans, your joy in my struggles. I held up the laptop, making sure they saw the incriminating messages on the screen. You think you can just spread lies, destroy someone's reputation, and face no consequences? There was a flicker of fear in their eyes. They probably thought I would just cry and retreat. They underestimated me. The influencer world, for all its glamour, is also incredibly tight-knit. Reputation is everything. And I knew exactly how to hit them where it hurt, in a way that was both public and undeniably just. I left Chloe's house without another word, the laptop still in my possession. The next few days were a blur of intense emotion and meticulous planning. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat properly. The betrayal felt like a gaping wound. But amidst the pain, a steely resolve began to form. I wasn't just going to expose them. I was going to turn their negativity into a powerful statement about online toxicity, fake friendships, and the importance of authenticity. My plan was simple, yet devastatingly effective. I decided to make a video. Not a dramatic exposé filled with screaming and accusations, but a calm, measured, and evidence-based account of what had happened. I spent hours compiling all the screenshots from the anti-influencer league chat, making sure every incriminating message was visible. I cross-referenced the dates of their defamatory comments with the dips in my engagement and the brand deal cancellations. I even found a few instances where they had used their anonymous accounts to leave particularly nasty comments on my videos, comments that I had dismissed at the time. I wanted to present an irrefutable case. I wrote a script, rehearsed it until my voice was steady, and ensured that my emotional delivery conveyed hurt, not just anger. I wanted my audience to understand the gravity of the situation, to feel the sting of betrayal with me. The day I filmed that video was one of the hardest of my life. I sat in front of my camera, The same camera I used to share fashion hauls and makeup tips. And I laid bare the ugliest truth of my life. I started by explaining the context, my excitement about my channel, my belief in my friendships. Then, I revealed the screenshots, blurring out their personal information, but clearly showing their names and profiles in the group chat. I explained how their actions had impacted my mental health, my career, and my trust in people. I showed the direct correlation between their sabotage and my professional setbacks. I didn't shout or scream. I spoke with a quiet intensity, my voice trembling only slightly when I talked about how much their friendship had meant to me. I ended the video with a powerful message about protecting your energy, choosing your circle wisely, and the importance of supporting, not tearing down, fellow creators. I didn't explicitly call for a witch hunt against them, but the evidence spoke for itself. Before uploading, I sent the video to my manager and my parents. They were shocked, but also incredibly supportive. My manager, seeing the undeniable proof, assured me that she would handle the brand repercussions and work on restoring my reputation. She even suggested I consult with a lawyer, just in case. My parents hugged me tightly, telling me how proud they were of my strength and resilience. The video went live at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. I hit upload, with a mixture of dread and liberation. I braced myself for the backlash, for their potential counter-arguments, for the inevitable online drama. But what happened next was beyond anything I could have anticipated. Within minutes, my comments section exploded. It wasn't backlash, it was an outpouring of support. My loyal audience, who had been with me for years, rallied behind me. They expressed outrage at my friend's actions, offering words of comfort and encouragement. The video started trending almost immediately. Other influencers, some of whom I admired greatly, reshared my video, expressing their solidarity and condemning the toxic behavior I had exposed. The story went viral. News outlets picked it up, discussing the dark side of online friendships and the pressures faced by young creators. Chloe, Liam, and Maya were completely unprepared for the storm they had unleashed. Their social media accounts were flooded with angry comments from my viewers and others who had seen the video. People called them out, shared screenshots of my video, and questioned their integrity. Their own small online presences, which they had tried to build, were obliterated overnight. Their school life became unbearable. Other students, aware of the viral video, openly shunned them. Teachers, though unable to comment directly, treated them with a noticeable distance. Their parents, undoubtedly humiliated and furious, grounded them indefinitely and forced them to issue a public apology. A weak, insincere statement that only fueled more anger. I heard through the grapevine that their attempts to find new friends, or any kind of social circle, were met with cold shoulders. No one wanted to be associated with people who had so cruelly betrayed their best friend. Their online ambitions, which they had hoped to build on my downfall, were irrevocably shattered. No brand would touch them, no audience would trust them. They became cautionary tales in the local influencer community. For me, the aftermath was a journey of healing. The initial pain slowly subsided, replaced by a sense of empowerment. My channel not only recovered but grew even stronger. My audience appreciated my honesty and vulnerability, and my engagement soared. Brands, impressed by my resilience and integrity, started reaching out again, offering even better deals. I made new friends, genuine connections with people who truly supported me, not for my follower count, but for who I was. I learned a crucial lesson about discernment, about listening to my gut, and about the true meaning of friendship. I learned that success attracts both admiration and envy, and that not everyone who smiles in your face genuinely wishes you well. It was a harsh lesson, taught by the very people I had loved and trusted, but it ultimately made me stronger, wiser, and more grateful for the authentic connections in my life. I'm still building, still creating, and still pursuing my dreams, but now I do it with a clearer vision and a more protected heart. I wouldn't wish that kind of betrayal on anyone, but I also wouldn't trade the lessons it taught me. So if you've ever felt betrayed, or if you're struggling with fake friends, know that you're not alone. Your worth isn't defined by someone else's jealousy. Stand tall, protect your peace, and never let anyone dim your light. Like this video if you were on my side and you believe in standing up for yourself. Subscribe for more stories like this. where I share my experiences and insights into the influencer world and beyond. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. What would you have done? And what's your take on online friendships and jealousy? I'll see you all in the next story.